I'm just passing information.
Right, because he's sending it, he's like mass sending it to like the news.
Yes, and then
Radio
probably-
stations. And
I think if it does that, please reach out, we'll know what it's for. We'll know that that's the answer.
Okay. All right, back to the agenda. So I need a motion from someone to approve our selection of a grant writing group.
Are we recording?
We are
Yes.
now,
Okay.
aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need a motion to approve what the selection committee has suggested for our grant writing firm. Can I have a motion?
A motion to.
Mandy will motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, good. Thank you all very much. Okay, Scott's just coming back in. Hey, Scott, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so, did we get his timesheet?
I gotta finish my timesheet. I put the reports in there. I gotta upload the timesheet.
Okay, good. I saw, did you upload the, ice rink thing?
I have it downloaded. I wanna save it in one PDF because there's like 10 attachments. So once I get it all saved in one PDF, I'll upload it.
Okay, excellent. So Scott just sent his report. Scott, since a lot of people may not have had a chance to look it
Yep.
over, do you want to kind of go over the highlights for us?
Sure. I mean, there's not many changes. The state parks on Tibbetts Point, state parks did approve the fence and it's going out to bid. I think I had it on there. We were waiting for SHPO, but later this afternoon, they emailed us and said that it was approved and they're gonna send the fence out to bid now. But they did approve the town.
How tall is it? How tall is the dang fence?
That I don't know, Dan.
Dan doesn't know either. Who knows?
We've had about 4 different variations.
Bernier and Cardinal, they're the ones that did the design. I'll see if I can pull up the plans. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you can just do it and I mean, I'm the only one who works up there, volunteers up there and has to look at an ugly fence. So this is a personal concern for me.
I did receive a call back today. It's not in the report. It was this afternoon. I followed up again, Mary, on the car chargers. Scott Gray's office said that the gentleman from NIPA should be calling me today and he didn't call me. So Gray's office is pushing him. I don't know if everybody saw the update last week or the week before. While I was at the NICOM meeting, I ran into Jeff Farrell. He's the director of NIPA. And we had a conversation about if he has any money for car chargers. He said he thought he had enough money to maybe have the Cape apply for 2. I told him we needed 3 for National Grid, but if you could give us 2, we would work on the 3rd. And then I had Scott Gray's office make the calls after that to try to push him a little bit. And Scott Gray's office thinks that they may be able to fund 3. So I'm just waiting to hear back from NIPA on the process to apply for them. So, but Scott Gray's office and his chief of staff, JD Eulinger, is been in communication with NIPA and the people at the Power Authority to try to help us get the funding to do those.
Thank you, Scott. Oh, you know,
Yep.
when you said you got a call, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
Soon.
and then I did, Casey and Carol and I did do the Zoom last night and go through the SFS program, showed them where they upload the documents each year when you get your taxes done and your audit done. Because I uploaded this year's information from the audit, your pre-approval does not expire till November of 26. But I told Carol, whoever the treasurer is moving forward should at least continue to update them annually, so you don't got to update a bunch of documents at the end and try to get it done in a hurry. Because if you lose that pre-qualification, you got to start the whole process over. There is a section, I know you have some new board members that are going to be switching roles and spots. There is a section update the resumes of the board members too. So when that happens, you might want to just update the new board members. But I showed them where you can research the grants. There are grants that are eligible for the nonprofit, the LDC direct. It shows what you qualify for and you can apply for through the SFS. And in there, in the video, I sent everybody the link to the video. I also took them to the consolidated funding application page and showed them where the resources are available on that. Programs are available. I did send you guys a couple of the programs that are out. So I did show them that too as well. And I did suggest you may for the SFS. I know we all use the same login and password. I did show them where you could go in and add a user. So whoever you guys select moving forward, you could give them the authority to go in and do grants through there with their own password and login. And you can limit the roles so they can't get into your documents or other things. You know what I mean? You could limit what they do and can't do. So if you didn't want them uploading, you know, your audit and things like that, you can limit their ability to do things like that.
Excellent. But yeah, thanks for sending that link. You know, I'll definitely.
And if anybody still wants to jump on, I know I offered it to you, Mary. If after you watch the video, if you want to jump on and have me show you something, just let me know and I can send a Zoom link and we can just jump on and I can run you through it again.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I'll definitely try to get to that sometime this weekend. Thank you, Scott. Any questions for Scott? No? All right, excellent. Additional projects, I sent that out last week. I think the big thing were the EV chargers and the possibility of NIPA being able to get some of those for us. That would be awesome. Other than that, there really wasn't too much. Did anybody have any questions on that? No? Bill, you wanted to give an update on the website?
This will be real short because we received the emails on the website. So the next steps that have been taken is I checked with the chamber, see if they want to go ahead and switch their URL, because it's probably the closest thing that will come up in hits for whatever the umbrella website is. They opted to go ahead and retain it. So I sent out an email with several just suggestions off the top of my head, looking for soliciting feedback, additions, whatever. I haven't heard anything. And so absent that,
I sent you some.
you sent me, well, I'm sorry. Mary sent me something, sorry.
How quickly he forgets.
I know. It's been a tough month.
It's been a tough one.
Yeah.
I know. I couldn't think of what.
So unless someone says something, sends me something by, let's say tomorrow, I'm gonna check the site that Joe sent me to check for domain availability, because just because they're on a list does not mean that they're available for us to go ahead and purchase. That's why there's several on there. So that will be kind of the next thing, and I'll start doing that again after tomorrow evening. The next step after that will include the RFP, and the reason why that domain name is important, because that goes in the RFP. To tell them that we want to build a website to certain specifications for a domain that we know that's available in the whole 9 yards. As part of that, we'll include the emails that we've discussed before, so we can have the group emails rather than the Gmail personal ones we're kind of using now to kind of go to that next level. And then the preference will be, based on my conversation with Joe, is kind of use what we're using now for the LDC one. Some people like it, some people don't like it. The benefit of that is, in fact, it's easy to maintain and update. So Casey does a lot of things now with our LDC website, and that's what we want. We want someone to design it, but then we want to be able to maintain it. So there's no kind of maintenance tail after that, that we can handle a lot of that updating on our own. So there's not this kind of additional fee, because as is, if you recall from the email, there'll be fees for like the domain name, whoever the hosting service is. There'll be nominal annual fees after that. And so we want to keep the maintenance piece of it as low as we can. So those are kind of the next steps, and that's the current update.
Any questions? All right. Stacy, welcome. Tourism update.
Hello, everybody. So I won't bother with like the day-to-day stuff that I've been doing, because I sent you the timesheet that I've been working on the last, I sent it last week, I think it was. So some things that I would like to move forward on is being able to have people come into the LDC and ask questions and things like that. I went with Lori to the brochure exchange and have a nice little stock of brochures and magazines and things like that. So I would really like to see if either the town or village could build us some brochure racks, similarly to what they've done at the chamber, just to have that additional, that basically other side of town, main entrance point down Market Street for people to stop in and collect information. Yeah, that's what Pam might be able to help out with that,
Yeah.
see if that's a possibility. Nothing too extravagant. I'd have to really think about how exactly we would set that up in the LDC office. Probably have to rearrange a little bit, but.
Do you have ideas about dimensions and that kind of thing? James is pretty handy.
Right, I think like a nice wall mounted piece like they have at the chamber on that, like if you're standing in the doorway of the visitor center, the one that's on the back wall, something very flat and simple.
So we'll have them check in with you.
Yeah. And I was thinking maybe a visitor information sign to put out there, so people know, we have an open flag, but the only one person that's attractive is Michael Hasner. Which is a wonderful help.
But a citizen said to me, they loved seeing the open flag, like just unsolicited. So I
Right,
thought
yeah.
that was pretty
Are
good.
you thinking like a sandwich sign that you put
Oh,
out?
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're
I
open?
didn't really have a concept in mind yet, just because there's no real, but a sandwich board would be perfect, actually. Just saying, visitor information or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
One of the things that I've kind of bounced off of Mary a few times is putting up they're called message boards, similar to what is in front of the post office, where we post flyers and things like that. To have something like that at East End Park for the local businesses or restaurants to put their menus in.
Okay. I think wasn't Christine working on that? She was gonna have something at the pavilion.
Well, there was supposed to be a case
Right.
that was built already, and now I can't even think if it's there or not. So I'll look into it.
Okay.
It was supposed to be part of the original
Oh, okay.
thing,
Okay.
so.
I have no idea. I'd really love to start sending out emails just to the general public about what's, at Cape Vincent events and things like that. I know the chamber has constant contact, at least I think that they do. I'm not sure if they're willing to kind of team up with the LDC and give them access to that. And if they need us to help split the cost, because I know that there is a fee with that.
Right, okay.
So that would be.
Or it would be really nice if you just let us use it, but okay.
We're poor.
And so when I worked at the chamber previously, I would send out like weekly emails, and I had built up a huge subscribership. So I'm not sure if that's still in their constant contact somewhere, but if not, we can
Stacey-
build that up again.
Okay.
We really should, and maybe you need to sit down with Mary Rupp and Pam, tell me if you think this is a good idea. But she's got a Facebook thing called Cape Vincent Events.
Yes.
And it would be a shame to do something else if there would be a way for either her to give Mary things to put on there, or there's a way they could both
Share it.
coordinate. Should she just go to Mary, or would you talk to Mary Rupp first?
I think either is fine. Are you comfortable with going to see Mary?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll just give her a heads up that it came up.
Yeah, that would be great. Because, that way everything you're mentioning is great. That would also give us a Facebook
Right, yeah,
media channel as well.
yeah.
The chamber talked to Mary about what to do with non-members events.
Yes.
And Mary agreed that we could send anybody who is not a member of the chamber to her for their events.
Right.
Okay,
Because we were kind of in that.
Yeah, Mary
Yeah,
posts
yeah,
everything.
she was very happy
Yes.
about it.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah.
Good.
She'll
Good,
post
good.
literally anything Cape Vincent related, so. And on that point of social media, when the time comes, I would like to start a social media page, but I'd like it to match what the website is doing. One of my suggestions, and I think Mary might have passed that along to you, was visit Cape Vincent. Just kind of to fill the gap where the chamber and Cape Vincent events page that fill the gap between the two, which I think is showcasing Cape Vincent itself. You know, both of those pages are very informational, very events oriented or business oriented, and, you know, showing off visually, you know, what Cape Vincent is as far as the waterfront and, you know, the I can't remember what they're called, the pocket parks and things like that, to have that visual representation. I really, really love, and you can always put information along with those photos because it's going to reach that many more people, because they'll share a picture of the boat on the water before they'll share a flyer.
Well, so you're actually on my call list before I developed this RFP, because you've done websites in the position
Yes.
you're in. And so to go ahead and help identify things that we're not thinking of an RFP for a non-social media guy. And then two, to link it into your efforts to make sure that it's the most efficient we can be and we're not working at cross purposes. And everything like that, because you are integral to the design of this umbrella website and how we do the information operation. So yeah.
Okay. So one of the things, and this has been on my mind for almost as long as I've worked in Cape Vincent, is non-commercial attractions or points of interest in Cape Vincent. You know, the best way to market or advertise is by word of mouth, and word of mouth these days is very much social media and people taking pictures, but there are few recognizable places in Cape Vincent that you can take a photo. You can go to the lighthouse and take a photo, and people are going to know that you're at a lighthouse somewhere, and you know, they might ask where or whatever, but if they are out on the river and they take a picture, it's just on the water somewhere to take a picture. So I would really love to work on establishing something non-commercial, ideally at East End Park. I did put together kind of a mock-up, and I did forget about the people online. Oh, actually, let me take all of these. And I have been talking to Mark Stewart about pricing for something like this. It's just a spot to stop and take pictures. It gives people, for one reason, just to stop and keep it, but it lets them do the marketing for us, you know, which is a huge thing, because it's photos, you know, they tell a whole story.
And that's pretty big share.
Right, exactly, yeah, and it's just.
So your concept is this is like a wooden.
Something like that. I think I'm gonna let Mark Stewart decide what the best material would be for something like this. And Becky is the only one I'm talking to so far, because Mark was out of town working on a sign in Syracuse, and she loves the idea. She actually said she's had the same thought for a long time. You know, there's no really cool place to stop and take pictures and stuff like that. So, and this would be just one of a few that I would like to do in the coming years. Just because I'm not sure how long something like this will take, and I don't want to overwhelm the processes by trying to do more than one at once. But I think this would be something really fun, very family oriented. You know, you can see whole families just lining up behind that to take a picture.
So there's like in Kingston has the letters Kingston with the I where the people stand. And everybody does it. So
Yes, that's
not a
actually
concept.
that's actually exactly what Becky referenced when we've been emailing back and forth.
And so Jim, Stacy will email this to you tomorrow morning, because we know you can't see it. It's
Yes, I'm
it's a
sorry.
boat that would, I'm not trying to hold it so you could see it. It's the best I could do. Sorry, Jim. Thoughts, comments?
I like it.
I'm thinking a 50-foot giant gamey black bass.
She said something about a fish and I said, I really don't like that muskie and Clayton. I don't like
Could be
it.
a bass being hung with the scale. I said, hey, Vincent, and you could stand next to it.
I think the ship is pretty.
I like this, yeah.
I like the idea, I just think we need to be careful about covering all our waterfront.
That's why I did the screenshot of because I don't want it to block any view, really, you know, it needs to be,
Because that's our only waterfront,
Right.
really,
yeah.
access. And like, and you can barely see it, but the buoys here, maybe just
Right.
labeling them and stuff like that as a starter until, because those are.
Well,
our
if you go
areas
all the
are
way to
kind of
the
cool.
left, there's a bunch of shrubs there. So you don't even see the water right there.
Right,
There's
that,
like a
that
big-
actually would
you
be
know
a
what I'm
more
talking
ideal
about?
You mean where we
spot,
put
yes.
the farm, the animals at Christmas, like the moose and all of
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I
Yeah,
hate
that-
those bushes, because I have to put the damn moose in there. and it's-
But it's
It's
all
not-
shrub, you
no.
can't see through the shrubs.
Right, yeah.
So,
Oh, that's a
So,
good
yeah.
point.
That's what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
that is already there.
I
So-
agree. Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't want to block the view, mostly for the people that live there and have always had the view. They're the ones that would be most affected by this. So, you know, that's why I did kind of the scenery mock-up, because I don't want it to block the river view, but I do, it needs to be substantial enough that people will see it and be like, oh, look at that, like, you know, let's stop and
Yeah.
take some photos.
Okay. All right, so next step on that would be some pricing, and then we could discuss it
Yes.
more.
Yes.
Mark can probably help too with sizing, like the best sizing. to
Right.
Not obstruct you, but still be significant.
Yeah, based on the dimensions of just that ship, if it was 12 feet wide, it wouldn't be any taller than 3 feet.
Okay.
So. And the only other thing that I have on my list, and I realize most of this isn't necessarily an update, more of like the direction that I'm going in, or all of the things that I've been talking about, but the cycling tours, the brochures, I have some pricing for that. I don't know if that's something that you want to go over here.
You could just bring it up, I think, and, you know, under a certain amount, Carol can approve it, but you want to talk about that, so a little bit, because cycling brochures was a big discussion at our previous
Yeah, so I
meeting.
want
So talk net. No, just kidding.
So mostly just whether or not we want them to be full color, because the chamber did express reservations about printing it in full color, using up toner and things like that. So we can print 250 for about $220 of, you know, and it'd be on a nice cardstock material, a little bit heavier and full color.
Like at Staples or something.
Right, yeah.
So the idea would be ultimately, when we have the website, this would be a downloadable thing that people could,
Right.
you know, print.
Yeah. something that we could
But
send
in the
out to-
short term, there could be some at the chamber office and then some at our office.
Right.
Probably even put some at the town and village offices. People come in
Yes.
those places, and so the question is, what do you guys think?
And I
We never did a budget for this position, right? Because we just didn't know how to price a budget for it.
right.
So what are your guys' thoughts?
My first thought is, I don't know if we need 250, and I know that Staples doesn't give you huge breaks, so you can get 100 for probably $100-ish.
Yeah, 135. Yep.
I still think there was a lot of color. And just the background color, and also if it's gonna be downloadable, people aren't gonna print it with that much color. It needs to have, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but,
It could be reversed a little.
right, reverse a little bit. That's my thought on it. I think I don't mind printing it, but if the point of it is gonna be downloadable and printable, people, if it prints in black and white, then okay. But, you know, because
Yeah,
you're gonna wanna print it at home.
Right.
That much
So maybe
color.
there's 2 versions.
Right.
Well,
That's fine
There you
too.
go.
well, they can choose a black and white print setting on their printer.
Mhm.
So you can, that way you design one, they download it, then they can choose if they want to have black and white color. At least all the printers I've used, you can do that.
But would it
Right.
still use all that black ink
It
to
would.
cover?
Yeah, it will.
If there's a lot of pictures and stuff on it, I think a downloadable version would be
The whole background.
my
is dark
suggestion.
blue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
a
I think,
beautiful one to look at online, a beautiful one maybe printed out, and then a scaled down the
Yeah.
print on his
online
map.
ones, yeah,
Yeah.
when you use online, we just do a scale down one.
And part of that too is that I have all of the maps in a navigatable Google map, so you can click on the link. Most people would, I don't think, would like download it and print it themselves. I think they would just click on the map that they want to use and follow the map on Google Maps.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's just those dinosaurs just to print things.
So I guess
Break
the,
trail.
yeah, so I guess the question is, do we authorize Stacy to spend $250 to print off some of these? No t-shirts, just kidding.
We start with 100.
Well, it's 135
Right.
for 100.
Yeah, I think we start with 100. And If you
Yeah.
use them, we get more.
Right.
Okay. All right, good.
And maybe we should talk about a budget for the position.
I know, I think,
Or at
yeah,
least have it on the agenda for next, for sometime, so that.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like this, she should all make her own decision on.
Yeah.
I think.
yeah, yeah, I
Like,
agree.
there's a
I
cap
think
that we
the
have to
other
have
thing that
for-
we
Right.
need to discuss, so you guys all got a copy, as did the chamber, of the mission statement and then procedural kind of things, which were 3 categories. And, you know, how they would interact with the tourism promotion office. So Bill made some edits to it, made it clearer. Because Stacy and I have been talking about it and we were like, he filled in he was like, I don't understand what you're saying. And I was like, well, you know, if you had been at 13 conversations before, you would have understood. So anyway, you shared it with the chamber.
I did, and they had a lot of questions, which I think I answered them, but I have to confirm it, of course, with Stacy.
Yeah,
So there was questions as, I guess, this part where it says, conduct for free advertising mediums,
mhm,
press releases, what's happening, TI sign, et cetera. My understanding of it was that Stacy does the press releases, TI sign costs nobody
right,
anything because they're free.
Yeah.
The what's happening is, the events are just for the what's happening at a glance page.
Right.
Right.
Because we're worried that, are we advertising for people that aren't chamber members?
Right.
but
we
we're
very-
talking about just the calendar on the front.
Right.
Yes.
Well, the event, what's happening at a glance. So that's.
Isn't that what's on the front?
No, it's inside.
Okay,
You know, the folder that we've been putting together, the what's.
right, no,
happening.
I know what's happening, but what I'm saying is all the events that are listed in there,
Mhm.
anybody's events can be listed in there. They can't have an ad unless they're a member. Is
Right.
that correct?
Right.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
so we're
And that was-
talking the same thing.
Right, so that's what I said, because, I mean, kind of, that's how I understood it. They
Right.
wanted clarification, so there's clarification. And, there was one other question. Must there been any formal procedures from the LDC on how we should be requesting things from Stacy as a stakeholder? Like, is there is it, like, when I want something from Stacy, if I'm doing an event, I just go in and say, Stacy, I need. whatever it
Right,
is."
well,
If it's
it
an
would
event.
fall into one of those 3 categories.
Mhm.
Right, so if it was, Stacy, I'm having an event, I want to make sure that you're going to push this to all free media channels, right? That's what you do, and there's a job form,
Mhm.
which was listed in there, which is a way to do it, or, you know, stop by and see her on
Text.
Thursday through Saturday,
Email, call.
Okay.
email, call, whatever.
But she doesn't design it, she receives it.
She receives it,
Right.
right,
Right.
I
So
might,
that-
I might write a press release
mhm.
and,
Yeah.
and then send that out, but yeah.
Right, but you know, she can reach out to Limelights, she can reach out to community calendars that are online, right? And that would be like when there's events, she's gonna push out to all those free media channels. The second category is that you want to have something that's going to cost money,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
In that case, she can advise you, she can get information for you, but we're not paying for it,
Right.
okay?
Mhm.
So, you know, the ABC 50 thing, right? You guys paid for it, there was discussion, she actually ended up going with you guys.
Right.
All of that's fine, but we don't have a budget to do paid advertising for everybody in Cape Vincent, chamber members or not,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And then there's sort of this consultative piece. And the consultative piece is, well, I've got this thing that I'm doing and I don't even know where I might want to go, right? And the example that I use is piano competition, right? Arts Council sponsors that. They might say, you know, we just want to get more people to come to that. And Stacy might suggest, say, well, what about putting it in the Syracuse Symphony's program, right? Because that would be a potential audience. She can find out how much that would cost. She can give all that information, you know, again, the legwork piece of it. But then she would look at Liz Brennan and she'd say, and Liz, that's going to cost you $150. Who's here? You have to call with your debit card.
Right.
So, does that make sense?
I mean, that's the way I understood it.
Okay, good, good. We were kind of hoping the way it was
Well,
written up, made that sense.
I just said I would get
Yeah.
clarification on it.
No, that's
That was
good.
the way I understood it.
Yep.
So.
Anybody else have any comments? I mean, I thought Stacy did a really nice job on the mission statement. I think it's very clear that it's not just tourism, but you know, eventually working on getting people to move to Cape Vincent. So I think it was good.
Bill, can you clarify? It's not just myself who has approval for small dollar amounts, is that correct?
That is correct, as the treasurer, and whoever the chairperson designates in lieu of the treasurer, and I gotta check and make sure if it's the chairperson also, but it's definitely you, a designated person. I just have to check and see if Mary is written in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
And do you remember what
Who's the
that number
designated
is?
Not off the top of my head, but I made this wonderful book. The question, because I knew I would not be able to remember all these things. So. Which one are we talking about here?
So to Mandy's question about a budget, maybe between now and the July meeting, start sketching out, you know, like a proposed budget, so we can talk about it, because we really just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Which is why we didn't do it. No idea.
Yeah,
And,
just-
you know, it doesn't have to be.
And Laura, you'll check on the constant contact to see
I will.
what the deal would be.
We might not have been using it because we've had so many
Changes, yeah.
changes, so that could be the reason. why we haven't.
right.
But I will.
Yeah.
So this, we want service.
Yeah.
So if it's a service, it's up to $1,500 with the discretion of the executive director. We don't have. an
We don't have
executive
it.
Treasurer or authorized designee. And then now if you start going to like, 1,501 to 5,000, you start getting the quotes from 3 vendors and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah, we're talking small money.
Yeah, small, exactly. So,
Yeah. So we don't have an executive director, so it's you.
Okay.
You are the queen of the money.
yeah, and then if
There's
you
no
want
one
like,
getting hit by a bus.
and then if it falls in the category of the commodities, equipment, goods and supplies, which some of the stuff may be in that one, then it's up to 1,000.
Okay,
Same for the director, treasurer, authorized designee.
thank you.
So Lori, I realized that under special reports, we did not add something from the chamber. Would you like to give us an update on all the fun stuff going on at the chamber?
Well, everybody knows that Ariel left, but Julie Swenson will be starting very soon. So she'll be our new administrator.
Nice.
Moving forward, so I think that'll really, we've been going in a good direction and that will push us even further into a good direction.
Where does she start?
I think school is out, pretty much right after school is out. Mhm. So she's just trying to get her.
And then you guys also hired Cassidy.
So yes, we hired Cassidy to fill in where we don't have volunteers.
Okay,
And that's been working out great.
okay.
We've had her come to the farmer's market on Tuesdays with a table outside, which anybody that wants to do that is more than welcome to bring a table down and give out information. Anybody who has information that, wants to give it out, but that's been working out pretty well. Having her, so we're not void anymore in the office. There's always somebody there.
Good.
What will happen when school starts again?
She's retired. Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Or is, yeah. So
Okay.
she's, I think, right now we have her slotted at like 25 hours a week. And we'll see how it goes.
Great.
Good. And I attended the farmer's market on Tuesday, and I would just like to publicly say Lori's doing an amazing job. It's really, really nice.
Oh, good.
And they had goats. I'm just. They had kids in there. I couldn't go in. It's terrible.
The school came down.
School kicked down. They were so darn cute.
Yeah, so next week is going to be games on the green. Games. So the kids will come down again and we'll get the big Jenga blocks, hula hoops, cornhole toss, that kind of thing. So we're gonna try to do an event every week with the farmer's market, something simple, you know,
I
whether
believe
it's.
on the corner of the green where the anchors are, there's a green box with a giant chess set in it.
Where is it?
There's a green box. It's on the corner where the anchors are, and there's a green box right along the edge of the brick where the brick and that little hedgerow meet.
Yes.
There's a painted green box, kind of large,
Mhm.
with a huge chess set in it, like an
Is it
oversized. I think so, but I think
Village Green?
I actually, when I worked for the chamber, Shelley had the key to that.
Huh,
But
I'll
so
go
I
look.
don't know if the chamber would still have it or if it.
I'll look in
has
the
gone
office, if
back
not,
to-
I can ask Sarah.
Yeah,
Mhm. So that's next week.
Okay, good. All right. Next up is the queen of the money.
I purchased a 50K CD. Our renewal CD dates are July 11th. So we'll have 50K that we'll put some back in or we won't, because we'll see what we got going on with these contracts. August 15th and November 28th. And there's a 7-day grace period. So perfectly, we can discuss at our next meeting what we're doing with that next CD that pops up. The Arts Council paid $250 rent, which took them up until June 17th of 25. They intend to pay rent in advance for a year going forward, so then there should be a check coming for $900 soon for the year. Scott did a great job with the overview with Casey and I. I'm wondering, Casey is familiar with the SFS system a small bit because she used it at her job at school. But I'm wondering if you want to give a shot at uploading the 990 and the char 500, which are both in our on our website.
Yeah, okay.
Because those are the two items that we're missing from our things that should be
Ah,
done.
good.
It's the 990 and,
CHAR 500. And
Okay.
I'll guide you to where they are, can't find it, but I think you will.
Casey, if you want me to jump on Zoom while you're doing it, I can walk you through it while you're doing it. If you share your screen with me, kind of the opposite way. If you let me know when you want to do it, I gladly would jump on and help you.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
And as when he was showing us around, there is, it was interesting to see all the grants in there. And so my understanding, Scott, is there's either you're running your grants through SFS. If you get a grant, you do everything in there, you put the invoices in there, you get reimbursed in there, the whole bit. And there's also the CFA site for certain other grants. So there's two ways these can all be handled as we go forward.
Yeah, there's two different programs, and the one that I showed you on the CFA, there's a list of what uses that. So that resource guide on the bottom of the page that I show in there, those are the ones that use the CFA right now. And then most of the other grants go through the SFS. So when you research in the FFS, where I showed you to search, any of those go through that portal.
Well,
So those are really the two main portals.
Yes, and then when we looked in the SFS, we saw where our egg grant is sitting there submitted, but not approved or not, but that's where that sits, that's where it will be handled. So this is all good that we're learning this.
Yeah.
Yep, and it says accepted, it doesn't say awarded or not awarded or denied, so it's just sitting in there as accepted at this point.
Yeah, the last communication on May 28th, and I looked this up, it's because I don't want to bug the woman, to say, so where are we on this? And she said, we'll be announcing soon. Which of course makes it really hard because then I don't have a window to go back and say, you said bye, you know?
No, they weren't, you won't get that.
Yeah.
Bills to be paid, WCP Consultants, 1406.25. June rent to Dominic D'Angelo, 150. TI Printing Co. ad for grant writer, 126. Town K Vincent, admin assistant pay for May, 4.25 hours, 94.61. Stacy reimbursed for office supplies. She got a few things from Staples, $49.45. Casey reimbursed for the JCC grant writing suite course, $355. And Stacy's consulting services for the first month, tourism services, sorry, 2166.67. So that's 4,347.98.
We have a motion to approve paying the bills.
I will make a motion to approve paying the bills.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll second.
And Mandy will second. All in favor?
And I won't go through the financials or the bank statements unless somebody has a question. They're posted. I'm making it a priority to have my things posted by Monday before the meeting on Thursday, because it's unfair to everybody. When I was getting it done Wednesday, I'm a last minute person. I don't miss a deadline, but I put myself right up against it. So I've changed my deadline to Monday night. So I hope that people will actually look at the things that I'm doing.
I do. I do.
And that's all I have.
Can I ask a question? So it's not finance related, but since you kind of talked about kind of the files and everything like that, so I've been looking at the Google Drive. And so it might be time for us to start thinking about going through and doing some file maintenance. Because we have a lot of old stuff. We've got stuff in full review, different folders, and then when they're done, putting them in. So just keep in the back of your mind. I'm gonna go take a look at it. But it's gonna rely on a lot of the memories of people that have been here a lot longer. Like, what are some of these things?
Yeah.
And where do we best file manage them?
Yeah, there's a lot,
So-
like my financials are very clear. Bank statements are that
Right.
each year, and it's very
Exactly.
subfoldered and,
Yeah.
and really.
But there
it's
is
a
stuff
good
still
approach.
hanging out in
Yeah.
for review that needs to go somewhere else. And the other thing that drives me crazy is some of the files say CVLDC in front of them.
Oh, that's me. And 'cause
Well,
I'm
no,
pathetic.
and then some don't. So I'm always like, where do I look for it alphabetically? So I think we should take CVLDC off the front of any file folders. So they're actually in alphabetical order. So you can find things. Oh my God. Y'all have these pet peeves. I'll have these pet
Starting
peeves.
with AAA now.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and take a look at it, just as kind of a stab, and then just kind of send it through. This is kind of what I'm thinking that might help clean it up.
That would be great.
Go from there.
That would
So,
be great. Okay, finance, Dave.
Nothing significant to report this one.
Okay, and governance, anything other than the resolution?
No, you all seen the resolutions, some comments came in, updated, et cetera, et cetera. The cybersecurity, the only hanging chat out there was I had sent an email because one of the backup things was a fairly modest external hard drive.
Mhm.
And if we wanted to go ahead and purchase it, and then how do we go ahead and do it? By that, I mean, who will buy it and get reimbursed or whatever, but that's really the one hanging chat as a solution to our cyber policy.
Mhm.
We've already talked about the foil. And I just want to make sure people understand, because we've been kind of talking about some of the stuff in executive session. So if someone ever put in a FOIL request, there are protected information things. So if it's something we talked about in executive session or certain actions, we're not required to release everything. We're just, so we'll get to review them, check the laws and what has to be released and what not. We have the ability to redact certain things if we have to release something, but something sensitive, so just keep that back in your mind. That's not listed in there, but we have the authority. And then we've already talked about the work that Carol did on the journal entry. All I did is just do formatting. So
So you're suggesting a little standalone hard drive? Is that what you're
yeah, it's just an
suggesting?
external hard drive. I recommend an amount. And I can't remember if I put 10 or 20 terabytes in there. And the idea was Joe was recommending, and what he was doing on the download was basically, if there was no system in place, is every year he took basically the copy of the Google Drive and moved it over and then labeled it like, 20, whatever the heck it was.
Mhm.
And the idea is because you have the FOIL and you have the laws that say we're required to maintain certain information on our website for how long, et cetera, and they have different timeframes. Eventually, you're going to take that stuff off. So your Google Drive should be your primary backup in case everything gets wiped. But you might have a FOIL request for whatever reason, project we started 5 years before. Someone asked for it, you have to go back and find them. Well, they should be able to go ahead and download some of those documents off our website, but we may have to dig into one of the drives. And so if you have multiple copies labeled by year, it takes up that amount of space. And so that's why I went with the higher terabyte.
It's a physical item, though.
It is, you just plug it into the USB drive and you just like your Windows, you just drag and drop the whole Google Drive into it. And so, yeah.
And we can drag and drop a copy of our website and drag and drop
Absolutely.
whatever files you have on the office computer.
So the website's a little harder, but you can do that. Joe's thing is, and I have to confirm this, whoever is hosting our website, in theory, is supposed to go ahead and be providing the backup services. But you are absolutely correct. We can download all the stuff, most of which should be in the Google Drive, just to make sure you have it. What it does not maintain is the design of the website. So all the code that makes this picture go here, this link go here, that's gone. But the actual information and data files are the things that we can back up. But we're hostage to the hosting service for all the parameters that makes our website look like our website. But the external drive handles both of those.
So is that something we can just order online through Staples using the
Oh.
debit card?
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. I can find several models to recommend, but
If
it's
you want to send me a link and
Sure.
I can order it.
Absolutely.
If that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And then who's gonna do this?
the drag and drop
If
stuff.
we get it, yes.
Yeah, once I have
Well,
the,
We always look this way.
Yeah.
no, the.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's,
So the external drive's easy. I can do that at home. You can do it. I just plug it in. I just hook it up and go, whoop, just bring it right over. Casey can do that. Anybody can go ahead and do that. For the Google Drive piece, I'd have to go ahead and other than just save as a file on the website for something
Joe
that might
could
not be
probably
on there.
tell you how to do it.
That's-
She maintains.
She does. right.
Yeah.
And then and there's a program that you can use both for Google Drive and the web page that you can also set up. And that it's in the email as far as how to back it up, but you need the external drive to drive it.
Yeah.
So.
Casey will do it.
So I'll make a motion that Bill sends me a link of what he recommends and I purchase it.
All right, so all in favor?
All
All
right.
right, excellent. All right. So we do have these 3 resolutions. All of our resolutions are done by a roll call vote. And so I am gonna go through these. So 2025-0601, this is adopting our cybersecurity policy. I will do the roll call. Mary says yes. Mandy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jim?
Need a motion.
Yes.
To do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I motion Mary.
All right, so let's see, so Mandy's gonna motion that we're gonna do these resolutions. And I need a
I'll
second, Dan, thank you. And now do I have to do an all in favor?
No,
Yeah, okay, all right,
once you got your motion.
okay, great, thanks. Jim,
Yes.
thank you. Dave,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan, Pam,
Yes.
resolution passed. All right, 2025-0602, this is our adopting a freedom of information law policy. So the one motion I did takes care of all 3 of these, right, Dan? I don't have to motion for each one of these, do I?
I don't, you need a roll call for each one?
I do need a roll call for each one.
You should have a motion for each one.
Okay, all right.
I'll motion.
All right, we got everybody. Dave, and it looks like Dan is seconding the motion on that, and this is for the freedom of information law. I say yes. Mandy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
I need a motion to bring forward resolution 2025-0603, the journal entry policy.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, and the roll call is, Mary is yes.
Yes.
Mandy? Bill?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Dave?
No. Yes.
Smart aleck. Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
All resolutions have passed. Okay, on to Club Street. Scott and Dan, any news on Club Street?
We got our Army Corps. I don't know if
Did you get it? Okay,
get
good.
that permit. So we're in the early stages of final design. We probably have a couple more meetings to get that pinned down. We expect our New York Forward contract anytime. We had a meeting Monday and they stated that it was coming soon. Other than that, the fence, we talked about the fence.
Yeah.
So,
And nothing else from the town perspective then? Okay, Pam, Village?
We expect our New York Forward about a week behind the towns, a week or two, so we're on the same time frame as that, as they are. We had a public hearing to let people hear about the concept that New York Forward wants for a more permanent closure of the end of James Street between the brewery and the ice cream shop. Not permanent. Summer event closure. And it was well attended. Based on the input there, we're going to put things back to parallel bollards, how we've had them the last, I think, 3 years. And add some additional safety items. We're going to add some stop signs at the Kelsey Street block. Ahead of that, I think we're allowed to paint the crosswalk just to make it more evident. And then we'll let the New York Forward engineers pursue it more with recommendations with something that's going to be expanded more to a larger closure. And let's see, Michael Terry from Bernie Carr is working on an infrastructure study for us at about half the cost for the village of what it normally would cost based on the way the ready funding went for us, and it went so much over budget. So we're going to start doing that very soon and then look for grants for us as well. So hopefully that'll set us up for being able to fix things along with the New York Forward projects. I think that's it.
So Dan and Pam, Scott had sent information about, I think it was called a BRIC grant, which would be due in August. I had asked, at one time, there was some work done, I don't remember what year, about trying to do a joint office between the village and the town. And my question was, would this BRIC grant be the appropriate time if the joint offices could be in this community center? So you would create a community center that would have the town and village offices in it. And it would be one building. Did you guys, either of you, have a chance to talk to your board about whether that was?
I did not have a chance.
Our
to
work
talk about
session got canceled Thursday.
Okay.
I was gonna
So
bring it
do
up.
you guys want, I mean, do you think that's worth even discussing at this point,
I
or
think we applied for a grant.
it was
either
design
for a
maybe?
Study or design, or it was a study. wasn't it?
You had applied for the local government efficiency grant to do the study on like what space you would need, how big of a building you would need, which you weren't awarded because it didn't show a huge savings to the taxpayers just by doing the study. Mary, I did send a question because I have a number of clients that are in the same boat about wanting office space inside this new community center. So I have reached out to the state and asked that question. They haven't answered their questions yet or updated their frequently asked questions. So I did ask if, if you're building a community center for community use, if you could incorporate offices in there for the municipality. So as soon as I hear that, I'll share that with everybody, which will
Okay,
maybe help them make a decision. But one thing that they would have to consider, the definition of community center in the grant application says that they have to have regular programming or hours. So you would have to, the town and the village would have to have some type of program in there and regular advertised hours for, use, whether it be senior hours or whatever you guys do in there for programming. But, some of my communities were setting up, partnerships with the schools or BOCES to have tutors in their regular hours during school. So like Monday through, some of them are looking at providing, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7, and having somebody from the school there that the school is going to pay for to tutor younger kids. There's a whole bunch of different ways you could look at it, but that is part of it, is you have to have regular posted hours for some type of programming.
It seemed when you guys were talking about it before that you were thinking about having a gym. So would something like open gym or things like that count,
Yep.
Scott?
Yeah, you could have a rec program like I know some areas do. I think you guys do rec programs in the summer where Monday through Friday there's adults or kids there to oversee just recreation. You could have recreation in there in the fall and winter too, like set hours. That would count as community programming, and then you could also have the space open for rental for organizations to use, like they use that rec building now. But you need some type of regular programming. And then once I do hear back on if you can put community offices in there, I'll share it with everybody.
Okay, so if you guys just, Dan and Pam, if you guys want to just think about that, if you get a chance to have a conversation, and certainly Scott will let us
We meet
know.
next Thursday, so.
Yeah, I mean, it just might be something, if it was a massive amount of money. If it was something we could pull off. Okay, and yes, you were on the agenda, Lori, but never mind, it's been one of those days. Been one of those days.
Stacy did get an update on the.
Oh, yes.
There's movement. She should have everything approved by the end of this month to start
Oh, that's
potentially
such
building
good news.
and groundbreaking by August, I believe.
That's awesome.
That is so great. That is so great. Oh, my gosh. Long
Yeah,
time.
it
coming.
fell off the agenda.
I know.
I did, yeah.
Well, she was nervous for a while because she had nervous.
Oh, I know. Well,
Yeah.
it's like the Ag and Markets grant. I mean, it's just crickets,
Yeah.
you just wait. Okay, under new business, board member discussion. So we did place an ad in an article in the TI Sun, because articles are free. Looking for board members. They have until July 1. I have not had anybody send me anything yet. I have 2 people who are potentially interested, and just wanted to ask some questions. I'm gonna have coffee with one next week. So we'll see if anything, but what I would ask is that, think about people Carol has already expressed that at the end of her 3 years, this bout of 3 years, right? This is your second bout of 3 years?
Well, no, it's only been 3 years, but it was a starting.
Oh, yeah, there was
before
that
the real-
whole, like, till we got our incorporation. Is she's not going to continue. So certainly thinking about someone who may have a financial background, who would be a good candidate for the treasurer. Bill's already spoken for. Dave absolutely said no, even if I promised to mow his lawn. Jim's at a distance. So this would be something that would fall to a new board member. So just put your thinking caps on who would be good candidates for us to encourage to consider joining us. And if we have Casey that's actually doing a lot of the administrative piece of it, this person would be more of an oversight role.
Mhm.
Now that
Which is
Carol's
gonna be needed
established
as
all
we
the
move into
process.
having grants to manage and that sort of thing, so.
Yep. So, all right, any other new business?
Yeah, I would, just one thing, I'd like to get the 3 quotes together for the publicity package that we talked about as part of the strategic plan.
Yes,
And I'll send that out to the group so we can have a discussion on it. It'll incorporate some of the things that Stacy's looking for, the boards, the signage and stuff like that. So just everybody expect to see that over the next couple of weeks.
yeah, and so Kate, Stacy is in the office Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, so if you want to stop in, I think she likes when, I stop in to say hi. Lori stops in to say hi. And maybe you could brainstorm a little with her too, that'd be great.
Okay.
Good. The only other thing is I believe that this, and Scott, you're off camera, but I believe this is your last meeting with us, correct? Did he walk away?
He's muted, so he must
You're
have.
muted.
He was there a minute ago.
Yes, this is my last meeting with you. I just want to thank you guys for our time over the last 8 years. I think as a small community, we've been more successful than any community together in the North Country. You guys should have a lot to be proud of. Working together, we've been able to bring in probably over $13 million to your small community, and I think that's probably one of the top. You have a lot of dedicated members and community members that are passionate about Cape Vincent, and that shows in what we've been able to accomplish together. And I appreciate the partnership we've had.
Well,
Thank you,
Scott, I
Scott.
want to say thank you on behalf of the board, and I think he deserves a round of applause. Okay, now it's privilege from the floor. Did you have anything you wanted to ask or say, or?
Well, yeah, I'm not new to Cape Vincent, but my wife and I bought a home here, so that we're now permanent residents. So, well, we couldn't be happier. It's been a year and we've had our noses buried in renovating this house. It's been fantastic. My view is straight down Elm Street where you're showing that boat, so maybe we could. I love the idea of the photo op place, just maybe not there. I'm here just to learn, frankly. I saw in the newsletter recently that there is such a thing as the local government corporation. I'm very interested in promoting the area and having a successful village and town. So I just came here to learn, to understand more about what the function of the group is. I had no idea it existed until I read the June newsletter. So that's why I'm here. I'm learning a little bit. It sounds like you collaborate very closely with the chamber. Doesn't sound like there's a lot of redundancy because you guys are both working on your own things. The only suggestion, I mean, I'm new, so, but I'm wondering if there's a way to raise awareness about you all existing and what you really do for, the rank and file here in town. And especially, it's just a little harder for new residents to learn about all this, about what's going on. You mentioned the construction project that's about to kick off. I said, what is it?
The daycare.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And, the Club Street, I don't know what that is. Is that the new docks and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, great, because we're all wondering about that too. So great, I'm so glad you exist. And
Yeah,
you're
we've
doing
talked,
it.
your point is well raised. We've talked about that. And when Dave was talking about a publicity kit, the idea would be, how do we go out and talk about ourselves? And, it's been 3.5 years of getting the government forms done and doing all the policies and all of that. And, having grants written and grants accepted and that kind of thing. So.
Well, it just.
But your point is well raised, and we know it, so we're always open to suggestions.
Well, I'm looking for a way to get involved too, so I have a lot of experience.
2 board seats.
You got
Yeah.
And what kind of financial background do you have?
Not quite.
Everybody
I was
goes.
a builder developer in Rochester for my whole career. And-
Welcome aboard.
Well, yes.
Anyway.
Well, are you
so
having
these
coffee
things-
with Mary next week?
If you'd like to have coffee with me, my name is in the article in the TI Sun.
I would never know. I don't read the TI, but.
Yes, that, I'll tell you, that is a lot.
I rely 100% on that monthly June,
Oh, what's happening?
What's happening?
Which doesn't really have a whole lot in it. And then the chamber has their Facebook page, and that's pretty much where I go.
That's great input too. 'cause
And if
we-
there's other places, that would be great to know.
Yeah, there's a Facebook group also called Cape Vincent Events that we were talking about earlier. You definitely want to look for that.
Okay.
Mary Rupp, the town clerk, does it, and she does a really nice job as well of keeping things, between the chamber and that, you get a lot of the Facebook stuff.
The East End boat ramp project happened,
Mhm.
and it's like, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. but to know how it happened, you guys probably spearheaded all that, right?
Well, the town and village
The
before
village.
our group was
Yeah.
formed, but I mean,
Yeah.
it takes years to pull this stuff off. Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just amazing, like you said, for a small town, what Scott said. Have all this going on. It's fantastic. That project down there is great. Love the investment in the marina. It was falling down.
Yes,
So,
yes, there's much joy everywhere about
Yeah.
that.
Mary,
well,
is-
thank you.
is
Thank
that-
you for attending.
Yeah,
Do you have
thank
a
you.
website?
We do.
We do, it's Cape Vincent LDC,
Okay.
and it's out there and it's actually really beautiful.
.org.
.org, yeah.
That's why it would be
Is your
like
mission
fun.
statement on?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yep.
Yep.
Good question.
Is that something maybe Stacy, I thought it was a great idea, maybe Stacy or somebody could like do a roll up of what we've done and put it in what's happening, and maybe even a monthly work. I don't know if that's something we have to,
Yeah, we could certainly talk to her about it, yeah.
and that would
Um,
help advertise the LDC and what we've done, because I know we've been talking about this for a long time,
That's a good suggestion.
but that does get out.
Right.
People read that.
Mhm.
So,
That's a
And
good,
it's much improved, Lori, too. Well done.
yes,
really.
yeah, it really
It's
is.
gotta get even better now.
Good.
and then I was just looking at the calendar for July, the Thursday before French Day.
I know it is every year, and
I
we
know.
talked about when we did the dates and we said we were gonna do it. So even if it's one of those meetings where we pay the bills, you know, in and out, because we're all slammed with French Festival. Some of us are really slammed with French Festival, in our households, so, yeah, because remember last year we canceled and then you gotta do like 400 things and buy ads to say we're not doing it, and that's why at the beginning of the year, we said, are we gonna cancel any of these, and our decision was.
I will
no.
not be here, I have a house tour.
Yes.
All coming that day, so I will, don't count me to be here.
As long as we-
All out of town.
I'm sorry, you won't be here either?
I will be here.
You will be here, okay, is everybody else, because we need a quorum,
I should be able to be here. yeah.
okay, so we can do with you. not
That's
being
fine,
here.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we need to make
I'll
sure we have a
throw
quorum.
Yep.
All right, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Emotional.
I'll
Okay,
second.
and we got a motion and a second. Thank you all very much for your time and have a good evening.
Scott, thank you again.
Thanks, Scott. Bye, Jim.
Thanks, Scott.